Hi, I'm Naomi Boyer. I'm the face and the brain and everything else behind Naomi Boyer Photography. I am a family, maternity, and newborn photographer here in Lebanon. And I also do fun little portraits for kids. It's kind of an alternative to school portraits. It's meant to be a low-cost, nice portrait that you can get for your kid. My business started in 2019, so I'm still growing every day. My portraits are warm and expressive. They're meant to show the love and the connection between family members. They're meant to be fun. They're meant to be really interactive. So we always try to have a really good time at our photo sessions. So I am a transplant to Lebanon. I grew up in Washington State and went to high school and college out on the West Coast. I met my husband on the internet. It was like through a blog post situation, and he was from out here and I was from out there, and then we kind of met and fell in love, and he moved out to Washington. We lived out there for a couple of years before we decided to move over to Lebanon to be closer to his family. That was a difficult move for me. I was not in favor of moving. I was a new bride. I didn't know anyone here. I didn't have any connections. I was giving up a lot to move to Lebanon. Me being a slow transitioner, I took a long time to really enjoy being here, to be honest. But when I was a new mom, about 3 years after living here, I started learning my camera. And I had about 2 hours a week that I had free all to myself because my kid was finally old enough to go to preschool. And I would walk around Lebanon with a camera and I would just photograph anything that caught my eye. And that was the beginning of me really appreciating this town that I discovered accidentally. And I discovered that our town, I now refer to it as our town, is a town that has deep history and architecture, and the people here are warm. I've met so many wonderful people and gained a lot of friendships over the years. A few years after I had started really learning how to do photography, I had an experience where I photographed a young lady who was a senior in high school and delivered her images to her mom, who was a good friend of mine. And then a couple of years later, I found out that she was struggling with bone cancer and she ended up passing away. I went to the funeral and I was sitting there in the pew and suddenly all the pictures that I had taken of them, of her on that senior photo session day and also of their family on a different date, started rolling across the screen on a slideshow. And I was still a fairly new photographer. I hadn't started a business yet, but that moment was so impactful for me to see the photographs of this beautiful young woman that I had taken pictures of rolling across the screen. And I realized in that moment what a precious gift I had kind of accidentally given them. And I realized also in that moment that my particular skill set could be of real value to a family who's facing something like a terminal illness. So I tucked that away for a long time. And then after I started my business, I went to my friends, her mom and dad, and I asked them if they would allow me to start a fund in her name. And so that's just what I've done. I've created this fund called the Beth-Elle Memorial Fund. It's a fund created for families who are coping with a member of their family who has a terminal illness. Maybe it's not like completely the end of life, but someone who could qualify for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, something like that. It will allow you to get a free photo session with a substantial amount of print credit involved as well. So you can have something to hang on the wall in your home or have a book to remember your loved ones. This fund is available to anyone who is a resident of Lebanon County, and I want it to be completely free for a family who is struggling with a terminal illness, to have something that will bless their family. If any of you would like to support the fund, you can visit my website at www.naomiboyerphotography.com. And if you would like a photo session with me, I do families, maternity, and newborn. You can visit that website also. I am booking for the spring. My name is Naomi Boyer, and I am Lebanon, PA.